Hey, we're live. Hey, Coach Lesley.
Hey, Coach Carmelle.
And hey, everybody who's tuning into us for yet another week. Thank you for tuning in. And if you have not already, hit that subscribe button and also send this out to somebody that you think that might be interested in what we have to say. And if you don't think that they're interested, send it to them anyway. You never know. I am Carmelle Jean-Francois, Coach Carmelle to you. I am I am a fitness and nutrition coach, primarily nutrition, plant-based nutrition. And what I do is I help individuals and teams, like corporate teams, I help them adapt a whole food plant-based lifestyle in order to combat lifestyle chronic illness like prediabetes, hypertension, um, uh, heart disease, all the things. And we do it in a way that's interesting. We do it in a way that's funny. We do it in a way that just tastes good. And of course, I am very, very big on the fitness aspect. And so with that said, I'm going to pass it over to Coach Lesley.
Thanks. I am Coach Lesley, and I'm a plant-based nutrition and performance coach here in Pittsburgh. I help individuals that are active who are trying to complete a goal like a show or some sort of competition, and I get them to the finish line with fitness, strength training, and nutrition. So that's kind of what I do. My hobbies are all over the place, anything fitness, but mainly I'm a runner, I'm a CrossFitter, and I am a bodybuilder. So that's me.
That's amazing. And I love that you said all of that. And we're going to be talking about what motivates us to exercise. Like you have a lot of things that you do. And people are like, girl, sit down. But but there's a motivation that's behind it. So we're going to talk about that in a little while. First, I would love for you to introduce Coach Lesley, our myth buster for the day.
Okay, sure. So our Mythbuster does tie into the topic of the day, but it is all about exercise and the intensity. So the myth that you have to exercise until you're sore, you have to exercise every day, and it has to be extremely intense. That is our Mythbuster today. A lot of times, especially as beginners, people will assume like you have to be sore. Like, oh yeah, I'm sore, so like I must have really worked out hard and did everything right. But as we both know, as bodybuilders and as long-standing athletes, that isn't always the case. I know we always talk about our bodybuilding life, and I think about how we worked out as bodybuilders, and there were a lot of days that we were not sore, and we did work out pretty often. We worked out about like 4 to 5 times a week, and it was low intensity. It was low intensity. It was very isolated movements to target specific muscles. And a lot of times it wasn't really intense at all, but it was very, very effective. The workouts that we did, I would kind of call them like bro workouts. They're very much like what you would think of as like a traditional weight room workout. Bicep curls and machines and a bunch of like very slow, high rep movements. So they were what got us both to the stage, what got us both awards on the stage, and really what sculpted our body in that time. And also, we couldn't have done that without the adequate amount of sleep and rest. So as hard as we were working in the gym is just as hard as we were sleeping to get that recovery, because if you're sore every day, you're not going to be able to recover. And if you're not recovered, you're not going to see any gains.
You're not going to see any gains. So interestingly enough, Lesley, I stopped work. Like I was of the mindset that I have to work out every day. I have Monday through Sunday. The more I did, the better. Counting my steps, 20,000 steps a day, 15,000 steps, got to get it up. And I was of that mindset. Oops. Sorry about that. And only until I started training for the bodybuilding competitions did I realize that, oh no, you sweetie, you need to sit down for a couple of days, right? Like that's when I started incorporating these break days. And it's to give our muscles a chance to recover and also build and get stronger. If I'm constantly working my muscles every day, there's a real thing called wear and tear, and that does not only apply for older age. And also, if I'm constantly sore, constantly in pain, I might be on my way to an injury, and that's not what we want to do. So that rest that you were talking about is so important. Mind for the mind as well, for us not to, like, sometimes when we think that we have to keep going, especially as life happens, we both work. You know, we both have lives, things to do. We have a mortgage and rent to pay. Like, things go on. One less thing for us to think about for maybe 1 or 2 days out of the week is really beneficial for even our anxiety levels, things of that nature. So yeah, going every day, that's not going to increase your gains. Going intense every day is not going to increase your gains. Just like what Lesley, what you were saying, some days, yeah, we do go hard. Some days it's a little less intense and more of the duration. Some days it's a little bit of both, and it depends on what your goals are, and it depends on it depends on what your goals are, really, and how you feel. You can show up for a workout and intend to do something intense, but if your body's not feeling it, listen to the body and respect your body enough to say, you know what, I'm not going to put it through. There's something I usually tell my clients, Lesley. I tell them, know where, like, have an understanding of self and how you feel. Know when you can move forward and intense your workouts. Like, sometimes, like, you know, I'm comfortable here. No. Know when you could actually push yourself to the limit, and know when you can know when you have to back off. And both are signs of strength, and both are signs that you have an awareness with what's going on in your body. And that's so important. And the only way for us to realize that is to really pay attention and practice. A lot of it is practice. And so, yeah, we're talking about the rest aspect of it, listening to your body. What else did I have here? And yeah, it doesn't have to be every day. Usually just do as you feel, but just because you don't want to, right, doesn't mean that you don't do it. Sometimes you just have to kind of, like, you know what, I don't feel like it, but I know it's just because my bed feels better.
Yeah.
You know, we have to be honest with ourselves.
Yeah.
That's it.
I have one more little add to that. Because I am a runner, and as are you, and because I train a lot of runners. So at the gym that I work at, we train a lot of different sports, but I would say that our bread and butter is endurance athletes. And typically a lot of, like, you know, cross country runners, field sport runners, and or field sport athletes, and people who do a lot of endurance training. And with endurance training comes a lot of, like, wear and tear on the body, and running specifically is the same. So if you run every single day, your body hits a point where it just starts to plateau, and you have to change things up. And then also, whenever you're training for, say, like a marathon, or even just like a 5K, we have a bunch of just like cross country runners that train with us, and they a lot of times will need to switch it up. So we had one athlete, he was kind of like plateauing a little bit this season, and we went to a meet, and we really noticed, like, his kick at the end of the race was not there. You know, he was a great racer, honestly, he was a great runner, but he needed that, like, extra push at the end to, like, get to move the needle as far as his PRing. So we were starting to really work on sprints in the gym with him to you know, push that needle a little bit, and he ended up PRing at the end of the season. But it was a lot of times people just think that they need to just do the same things over and over again, but we needed to switch up his training in the gym and bring up some sprints. And everybody's always like, you don't need sprints in distance, but you really do. And even with training for like a marathon, you need to have those speed work days where you train really hard and fast. And then you have obviously your long run days, and you have your tempo run days where it's a kind of a little bit of both. So it's definitely really important to like switch it up. It shouldn't always be intense. There are a time and a place for it to be really intense, and there's also a time and a place for it to be really slow and boring. And I always say the boring stuff is typically what will move the needle and get you to a different level. And it sucks, and it's boring, but it does help a lot. So you don't always have to be sore, and you don't always have to be doing 1,000 miles an hour intensity.
Yeah. And Lesley, we had not to run this point down to the ground, but we had done one of our previous episodes. We're talking about why you need a trainer. And sometimes you won't know that that's what's happening. You won't know really that you're plateauing. You won't realize that you just need a different type of workout or some kind of variety in order to really hit the goals or see the difference that you want to see. And I'm talking to my recreational exercisers, people who just do it because they want to maintain a certain physical fitness. There might come a day where you're like, I don't think the same thing is working for me anymore. Take heed and try to change it up. There's so many different types of exercises. You don't only have to be in the gym. You don't only have to lace up a pair of sneakers and go out for a run. There's all kinds of exercises. That's a whole other show that we could just definitely talk about.
Yeah.
But just change it up and be creative and just enjoy, have fun.
Yeah, I agree. It's a lot of different things than you think of. So
for sure. And it can be fun and it could be exciting. And that's why I think both of us are so into different types of workouts, like your CrossFit, right? Your CrossFit, your bodybuilding, your runner. And it's because there are different aspects to that type of training, level of training. It changes things up. It keeps things exciting. So that's why we're just kind of like, and we just like it because we just love it. So anyway, with that, I hope you had some valuable information. Let us know I hope you heard something valuable for you. Let us know if what we spoke about was pretty good, and if you want to hear more on that topic. But we're going to move on, to what motivates you. What's that one thing or several things that motivates you to exercise? And no answer is wrong in my book, right, Lesley? Because as long as you're moving, we're already winning. As long as we're moving. I'm going to start with this one. I think the main thing, so it changes for me. So the main thing to get me moving when I first started exercising was for me to get strong. It was after I suffered a car accident. Now, mind you, I had been sedentary for about 10 years before that. And before that, I was pretty active. It's just that when I started working after graduating college, I just got into a really sedentary place. Didn't have to, put out any extra thought to working out. But I still wanted to maintain a certain look. And when I found that wasn't happening because simply I was moving, I was drinking too much, eating all the wrong foods, I was just like, something's got to give. But I didn't want to exercise. So unfortunately, it took me falling asleep behind the wheel and waking up. That's what I say. I fell asleep behind the wheel and woke up to my health and wellness. And as I was healing, I wanted to make myself stronger. So that was my motivating factor then. And then I got stronger. And now I was just like, you know what? I want to compete. I want to run a marathon. So my motivation changed after every kind of level that I hit, so to speak. Yeah. And it continues to change. And sometimes it fluctuates. And sometimes I just want to maintain for the next 3 months. I don't want to think about anything. I'll show up for my runs. I'll show up at the gym. I'll pick up a set of dumbbells, but I'm not doing anything crazy right now. So my motivation always changes, and my motivation always correlates with my goals, whatever my goals are, where I am in my life, how I'm listening to my body, and if something else is taking priority. But even if something else is taking priority, I'm always going to show up for my workouts. I'm always going to maintain a certain level of fitness. I will be the first to admit a certain part of it, a big part of it is vanity. I'm not gonna lie, it is. I want to look a certain way, but at the end of the day, that's not what sustains my workouts. It's not. It's my want to be healthy and strong.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I think you kind of hit it on the nose, where it's like the motivation isn't the most important part, or like what actually drives you to do it isn't the most important part. It's just getting it done and being consistent. I would say that mine has always just been a love for sport and movement in general. I don't feel like I've ever had a really hard time staying motivated to sorry, Caesar is like very, very needy today. I wouldn't say that I ever had a bout of time where I was like, I'm just not working out. There has been consistency since I was probably in like second grade. And like, I was a kid. I wasn't an iPad kid. So I didn't have an iPad growing up. So I was outside running, playing, competing, even as a very small young child. So probably even before that. And then as I grew up, I got into sports and I started playing basketball, and I started just moving, and I really just fell in love with the sport. And then as I, went through high school, college, still played. And then after college, I had an injury myself. I had during the end of college, I had a ACL tear and meniscus and all that. Excuse me. So I kind of explored other things, I'll say. So I started to really like focus in on the gym and just like working out and like staying fit. And I always just really liked it. And I always loved to run. I did cross country in high school as well. I did a few like meets in college just to like fill the roster. But yeah, it was just always a love for movement. And I also, I feel like for mentally, it really helps me. So I know whenever I go too many days without doing anything physical, like I get antsy and I just like feel as though I have to move. I was put on a little bit of a like hold for the last couple of weeks for some health things I was going through, and I'm like itching to get back to it. And today is like the end of it, of like, okay, you're kind of free to do whatever. So I am really excited to get back into a routine. I'm going to be starting another like lifting program that I'm just doing myself. But, it's just one of those things that it just makes me feel good. And I feel like it's my identity. Like moving and is my identity. I've never been the friend that's like, I need somebody like to be my accountability partner. I am the accountability partner. So for me, it's really just like, it's part of me. And I want to just be healthy because my family was not usually, or in the past has not been the healthiest. And I kind of want to like sever that, that pattern, not just like break it or be the first person to, I want to like sever that whole thing of like, this is not our identity. We are fit, we are healthy, we move, we exercise, we do all the things so that, my future and so on will know, okay, this is how we do things. For sure. So little bit of motivation from just like family health, the love for sport, and just my identity, I would say.
Oh, that's so good. That's so good. Yeah, it's definitely become my identity. I
Mhm.
feel like people see me and then they just know that this is what I do.
Yeah.
They know that I'm always doing something. They don't even ask me, "Do you still run?" They're just
Yeah.
like, "Are you still training for marathons?" Because they
So
know that
glad.
running is just a part of it, right?
Right. And it
And
feels good for that to be your identity.
it really does, and I feel like in a way that holds me accountable too. It's like
Yeah.
people see me as that for a reason, and that's who I am, and
Yeah.
I'm happy that people notice that that I'm like me. My identity is synonymous with somebody who takes care of her physical
Yeah.
health and
Yeah.
her heart health in that regard. And another as you were speaking, I remember that another motivating factor for me to even get into the bodybuilding was my brother and my cousins always had these muscle magazines, and the muscle magazines always had it was all men and maybe with two pages with women. And I
Yeah.
remember looking at the women and thinking that they looked so strong and powerful. It was empowering. And that's definitely something that when I did, after my car accident, when I did start making myself stronger, I started seeing that in me, and it felt good. I was just like the strong women that I admired in these magazines, like I was starting to see a glimpse of her in the mirror, and
Yeah.
that made me so proud. And so it ties in with that identity piece.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, but whatever it looks like for you all that are listening to us today, carry on about how working out is our identity. And you're like, girl, like I don't even like to exercise, because there are those people in my life that were like that think that lifting weights it's just not something that we as women should do, especially my generation of women. We come from aerobic exercises with the leg warmers and jumping up on, and although those things are still very beneficial, especially to our heart health, yes, that's not the end all be all, and it's certainly not what we need as my generation gets older, and even as yours comes up,
Right.
Lesley, because you're right there at that cusp. We need to be lifting up. So we need to be doing some heavier weight bearing exercises in
Yeah.
order to ensure that our muscles and our bones remain strong. So I say that to say that whatever your motivation is, whether it's because you are in that perimenopause, menopause phase of your life and you want to maintain bone, bone density and muscle mass, whether you just want to be slim, as long as it gets you moving and you're doing it in a safe way, I will never say anything against that.
Yeah.
Whether it's to be strong, whether it's to compete, whether it's to run your first marathon or first 5K, no matter what it is, whether it's just because, you know what, like I have extra time on my hands, whatever that motivation is, whatever that inspiration is to get you up and moving, we are with you 100%. And we will be your accountability partner. Just shoot us a message and definitely we've got you. Um, and stay in it and know that there's going to be days where you love it and you feel absolutely strong, empowered, you feel like the woman. And then there's going to be days where you're like, what do I have to do this for the rest of my life? Like,
Yeah.
please, do I
Yeah.
have to? There are days I'm like, why can't I just stop? I just want to, sleep in today. But remember why you started. Remember what motivated you. Remember what inspires you. Remember what you want to feel like in 20 years, even though there's a disconnect and you don't know how you're going to feel in 20 years. Just keep all those things in mind. Lesley, do you have anything to add to that?
No, I mean, yes, but I really like that you mentioned basically that motivation is fleeting. Like it is up and down, and it is okay to have days where you're like, I don't want to do this. I mean, trust me, we have those days. Like we do not want it to come off as though like every day we're like, yes, let's do this. Like there are days where we're like, no, we're not
Lesley,
doing
I've
this.
I've stopped dead middle of a workout once and be like, I just don't have it. I just
Yeah.
don't have
Oh
it.
yeah, me too.
And I didn't even feel a kind of way about it. I was just
Yeah.
like, let's try again tomorrow.
Yeah. I
We're
mean, yeah,
allowed.
yeah, exactly. And that's the thing, like allow yourself. And I've been seeing again, just working with uh like a population that is really starting to think about the aging and what the next 20 years is going to be like, and that has been a big motivating factor of am I going to be one of my friends that you know, in my 50s and 60s, am I still moving? Am I able to like do all the things? Or am I one of my friends that has all of these medications, has all of these diseases, and I don't even exercise? Like,
Right.
that is not what we want. Because the reality of it is like, we see, especially again, working in the gym, working in the fitness world, I see both sides of it. I see mainly athletes that are in their 50s, in their 60s, in their 70s, that are still coming to the gym. They're still doing the work, still, you know, able to get off the floor. You know, like I have a couple that they're in their 60s and 70s, and we get on the floor every single session. We get on the floor because if you fall, which the husband actually had a fall, I think last month. He was running actually, and just some stuff going on, like you know, equilibrium type of thing. And he fell, and he didn't get hurt, but it was just like one of those things where probably didn't eat enough, you know, all the stars aligned for him to fall. And he was able to get back up. And I'm like, you know, we never want you to fall, but we also, if that does happen, we want you to be able to get back up, because if you're by yourself, which I'm pretty sure he was, um, now you can get back up on your own, and you're not stuck there based off of whoever walks by or whoever can. Because the reality of it is like, you know, this guy's a big guy, he's 6 foot something, and
Mm.
the odds of somebody walking by and being able to help you up, I don't know.
It's
It might,
slim. It's slim.
yes. Yeah. And that's very, very important. I have a couple clients who are at fall risks, or who are fall risks. And I'm like, we need to teach you how to get back up, because this is really important. If you fall and you're home alone, that could be the difference between life and death. So,
100%.
yeah.
Especially to the women out there, because the second, well, not the second, but when we enter perimenopause and menopause stages in our lives and we start losing bone density, we are at such a risk for being osteopenic, where our bones are literally brittle,
Yeah.
where you can experience a fall and the surgeons might not even know whether your hip broke and you fell, or if you fell because your hip, like if you
Right.
fell and then hit your, and then broke your hip, right? So
Yeah.
I have two stories based on the what you were talking about with your clients, Lesley. Two stories. Both gentlemen are in their early 80s.
Mm.
One of them, he looks like his mental capacity, everything. He's still working. He's in the construction industry. He's like, Carmelle, my doctor says that, he says, I am in perfect health. He says, just don't fall, because that'll be the end of you. That speaks volume. And
Yeah.
then I have my running coach. My running coach was like 82 years old. We were running in the woods, trees, leaves, branches, roots, and we'd watch him fall, and he would get right back up by himself and continue running. And later on, be like, yeah, I think I hit my hip a little bit. I'm just gonna go home and ice it. Like, there's a lot to be said for the person who takes care of themselves as they get older,
Yeah.
because their bodies stay strong. Simply because your body's like, okay, he's not stopping, so lay down more bones so we can make sure that
Yeah.
we all stay. Your body's just trying to keep you safe. And
Yeah.
when you don't use it, you literally lose it. Your body's like, oh, we don't need this anymore. We don't need this function anymore, so we're not going to lay down a new bone. So all of those things are important. So take heed.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. So with that, I think we spoke a lot on that. I think we definitely spoke about our what our thoughts are on that. We'll move on. And what we want to talk about is the food of the day. This is my favorite part of the conversation. Go ahead, Lesley.
All right. Our food is blueberries today. And it's very simple, but it's a very powerful food. It's part of the quote unquote G bombs, which is, I'm not really sure who made the G bombs up. Maybe Dr. Furman. I could be lying though. But it has a lot of benefits. It has antioxidants that give its color and work really well with our body to help fight a lot of diseases, inflammation that we would otherwise have. They're very diverse. Blueberries can go in a lot of different things. I use blueberries, I would say probably not daily, but weekly, multiple times a week, to put in pancakes, to put in oatmeal, to put, I've been actually making like a compote, and even you can even make like a really easy jam with just like chickpeas, or not chickpeas, chia seeds, sorry, chia seeds, and the blueberries and some lemon juice, and just kind of like cooking that down.
Chickpeas, I mean,
Chia
seeds,
seeds.
Lord,
Yeah.
chia seeds, blueberries, and what did you
some
say?
lemon juice.
Lemon juice, and boil that down?
Yeah. For like
Girl.
a compote or a jam. But
I
yeah,
like the sound of that.
Yeah, it's very good. And if you, I don't even think you need to boil it if you're just doing the jam. But yeah, blueberries are very versatile. They're very delicious. And you can kind of eat as many as you want. Carmelle, what are your thoughts on blueberries?
Yes, so blueberries, first of all, the G-bomb, yes, Dr. Furman.
Okay.
He coined that. That's his. And G-bombs are pretty much the plants that are not anti, but they can save us from cancer, more or less. The more of this in your body more frequently will fight off cancer cells in your body. So yes, so blueberries are definitely a favorite. I remember when I was still addicted to sugar, I didn't love blueberries because I didn't think they were sweet. Nothing was sweet to me unless it was highly processed and candy, Jolly Ranchers, right? But super sweet to me. But it's nice because it has this sweetness to it, but it's low in the glycemic index, so it doesn't spike your sugar levels up. For those of you who feel like you cannot have fruit, if you are somebody who might be going through pre-diabetes or diabetes. This has a lot of fiber in it, just like Lesley was saying. It's an antioxidant, so it really helps fight the free radicals in your bodies. But basically, it helps to fight off cancer cells and other cells in your bodies that shouldn't be there. Tasty, very versatile. I put it in my oatmeal. I put it in my overnight oats. They go in my smoothies. You can throw them in your salads for a little sweet flavor to it. And I'm writing down this little concoction that you got going on there for me to make my own jam. I like the way that sounds. Yeah, so blueberries are amazing, and I pay attention to a few doctors that have said blueberries and strawberries, blackberries, raspberries, they should be part of your diet on a daily basis, like every day. That's how much fighting power of bad cells in our bodies that these foods have. Like they're more powerful than drugs. Research and studies have shown, I can't quote anymore right now, I promise, but they are. But yes, so blueberries are definitely a powerhouse of a food.
Yeah, delicious. Caesar's my dog. He loves blueberries, and there have been times where him and I have consumed an entire carton of blueberries in one sitting. So
I love it.
Yeah, and especially frozen blueberries. He loves frozen things. So I don't, but he will tear up a frozen blueberry, banana, strawberry.
I love that. I love that. And blueberries, although they're not, I don't think they're year round, like seasonally, but blueberries, frozen blueberries are spectacular any time of the year because they flash freeze them. So they freeze them at a time where they're at its highest concentration of all the vitamins and minerals and antioxidants that it has to offer us. And so we get to consume the goodness that is the berry all year round. So definitely stock your freezer with some blueberries and enjoy the benefits and enjoy the flavor and the
And you can even freeze them yourself. Like buy a bunch in whenever they are in season, and then just freeze a bunch to last you through the winter. Well, somewhat through the winter. I don't know. That would be a lot of blueberries, but that was one thing I did during my bodybuilding season. I bought a bunch of blueberries and then I froze them, and they were just, I would thaw them whenever I would sometimes I would thaw them, sometimes I would throw them into like my oatmeal just frozen, and it was delicious. And I don't know, sometimes I like them to freeze them myself because they were like plumper. um and I would just freeze them and they would kind of freeze very plump like that. And then whenever I'd put them in the oatmeal, they would
Add,
kind
add.
of thaw, but like they would still, yeah, be very like plump and just really good. Now I'm
Yeah.
like, how can I incorporate those in something else this
I
week?
know, right?
Yeah. So
Um, I know my cousin, she'll get herself like half a slice of sourdough bread and put some peanut butter on it and then
mhm.
put on some of the blueberries. She lets them thaw a little bit though.
Yeah.
Put the blueberries on top, so she's making her own like Concord kind of
Yeah.
great, not well, a blueberry and peanut butter like thing and a snack. And it's
Yeah.
so good. It's so good.
Yeah. Blueberries and peanut butter are actually very, very good. That's
And it's
great.
funny you said Caesar likes his blueberries. That's how her dog likes her blueberries.
Oh
With
yeah.
yeah, a little blueberry with a little bit of peanut butter smudged on it. Can't get enough of it. It's so cute.
That is
So
hilarious.
the blueberries, folks, get them to be a part of your life on a daily basis, whether it's blueberries, blackberries, raspberries, etc.
Yeah.
And I think that's our episode for today.
Yeah.
Yeah, so should we just go ahead and tell them what to look for next week?
Yeah.
Next week, yeah, we're going to talk about at home gym or just going to the gym.
Yeah.
Let's talk about, the benefits and whatever about both. Let's just talk about both. So check us out next time. And until then, we'll see you. But make sure that you sign up, not sign up, but you
Subscribe.
Perimenopause brain. Woo! Subscribe and send this out to anybody that you think that might enjoy this conversation. So I'm going to say ciao for now.